Hi everyone. So today in this video we're going to be talking about happiness. And are you happy? Are you unhappy? Where are you in that space? And for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Cheryl Piper, and I'm the founder of Alchemy Holistic Life Coach and Cheryl Piper Ascended Unity. And, this is new for me this year coming on, and just really putting that message out there for everyone about happiness and choices and perceptions, and just really helping everyone with coming into that space of making choices for our life that are going to lead to happiness. So here we go live, and I'm just want to kind of encourage everybody out there, if you want to put some hearts up, put some wows up, put likes up, that's great. And also for those of you out there live, if you could just maybe write some things in the chat box, where you're from, who's out there, just say, hey, hi, and how are you doing? And while you're doing that, I am going to do a little bit of housekeeping here, and then we'll move on with kind of oh, I see Dean's there. Hi, Dean. Great to see you. I hope we get to chat soon. And we'll go ahead and move on here. So let's talk about choices. And, through my journey and just kind of, moving through the things that I've been through in the past few years, I really understand the importance of choices, because there's been so many times that I've been in situations where, I may, kind of come into a situation with meeting a person and, made an instant decision. And then a lot of times finding out that maybe that wasn't really the correct decision on that perception that I thought. And so, taking that time to just look at how perceptions really do frame our world and frame our reality. And the fact that we do have choices. And every day, all day long, we are making choices. So looking at growing in our awareness and, just taking that time to stop and think about the past and all of those things that we hold on to. Because when we hold on to specific situations and think that we can somehow change them just because we want them to be different. And so the resistance, a lot of time, that can be what really causes the unhappiness and the struggle within oneself. And I talked on my second episode of YouTube, and we were talking kind of about that hindsight moment, when it's that space between a situation happening to you, and when you kind of realize in that hindsight moment to be able to look back on that and see the wisdom that was there, see the lesson that was in that situation that happened to you. But a lot of times, and I've seen this many times in talking with people who are struggling, that they hold on to the past, and they're really kind of like dragging it into the future and just dragging it along. And kind of a thought that always comes into my mind when I think about that is I always think about A Christmas Carol, and how Jacob Marley was like dragging that chain and talking about how that was the chain that he forged in life. And sometimes I think about that, and it pops into my head when I speak on this subject, because that's kind of what it feels like when you're dragging these situations from your past and just pulling them along and holding on to them and having that resistance to what is and what is the truth of a situation, and allowing yourself to move into forgiveness and to move past and let go of a specific situation. And that really can frame your happiness. I see and I hear people talk about happiness like I'm trying to find happiness and I'm looking for happiness and I'm trying to do all these things and really looking externally for that happiness. And I have a statement that I like to say, and that is that there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And in looking at that statement, it's kind of putting the space of, I'm choosing to be happy. I'm choosing to find gratitude. I'm choosing to move forward in this way, to see what I have and not think about the lack and what I don't have. And in doing that, we're able to kind of let go of that resistance that we've been having to whatever that memory is or situation is that we just really thought was going to be different than it is. And, and I think about my divorce and when I went through that, just being in that space of just in disbelief, like I cannot believe this is happening to me. And if I would have chose to stay in that resistance and not moved through that situation, I could still be dragging that weight with me. And, that's kind of a heavy burden to pull around with you all the time. And I find that when I let go of specific situations and I feel how light I feel, it's like all of a sudden you just feel like this weight has truly been lifted off of you. You just feel lighter. And most of the time we don't understand that weight that we're carrying around with us until we let it go. And then it's like, wow, I can't believe how light I feel. I can't believe how good I feel. I can't believe this happiness that's radiating out from inside of me, because that's where we're going to find that peace. That's where we're going to find happiness. It comes from within. And when we stop looking for external sources to bring that happiness to us, or we stop looking for situations that are going to happen in the future, well, I can be happy then, when this happens and when I have enough money, or when I have enough stuff, or when I have enough, my house is paid off, or when all of these things that are in the future, that's not where happiness comes from. Those external things. Happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from that space that we make a choice that we're going to move through specific situations and let go of the resistance. Because when we can step into the flow, and so many times we as humans think that we have to be struggling for something to be important. We think, oh, we've got that uphill battle. I think of Sisyphus and that whole pushing the ball up the hill, that this is the struggle that we as humans are supposed to experience in life. And the more I learn and experience, I see that by stepping into the flow, by stepping into, jumping into the river and going with the flow, rather than swimming against the current and having all of this struggle, because that struggle is what really brings that unhappiness and that resistance brings that struggle, where if we can learn to step into the flow of a situation and flow with it, and we'll feel the calm and the ease, and it's like things just fall into place. I find that this happens so much when, I'm struggling to, well, there you go, there's the word, I'm struggling to deal with a situation. And when I realize that what I need to do is I need to let go, and I need to allow myself to move into whatever the lesson of that is. And when I stop fighting or stop struggling or stop fighting that situation and really let go, and it's really the opposite, because so many times we think, I have to keep pushing and I have to keep struggling and I have to keep pushing, when really what's needed is release. What's needed is to let go. And when we can do that, and that's not an easy thing to do. This takes time and this takes practice. But when we can learn to make a choice and understand that we have a choice and we choose to let go, then we can step into the flow of that situation. We can step into that positive energy and allow things to flow in our direction. And they do come to us then. It's I don't want to say it's like magic, but sometimes it seems like that. And we, have to be willing to make that choice of letting go and realizing that maybe there's something going on here that I don't really know. I don't have all the information. And that comes down to trust. And that comes down to trusting God, trusting the universe, trusting that your higher self. Pick your word. It's up to you. And trusting that source, and trusting that there's a bigger lesson going on here than maybe we can see in that moment. And that's, again, coming back to that hindsight moment I was talking about earlier, and I talked about in my last broadcast. Because when we reach that hindsight moment, then we can look back and say, oh, that's why that happened. Because if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have, been able to do this, or I wouldn't have been able to make this decision for this job, or for this relationship, or to buy that house instead of that one. If we can, like I mentioned in my last broadcast, if we can learn to shorten that hindsight moment to be able to step into the flow of whatever situation is happening to us and see, okay, there's a lesson here for me to learn. I'm going to choose to learn it. I'm going to choose to move through it. And I'm going to understand that there's something here for me to help others with. There's something here for me to learn. And then there's something here for me to help others with, rather than something bad happening, or what we would determine as being bad. It could be a situation of, I can think of one thing. This happened years and years ago. When I was married, we were moving from my hometown in Waynesboro. We were moving to Chicago, and we were there on a house hunting trip. And while we were there, someone broke into our hotel room and stole all of my jewelry. And my husband at the time stole his laptop. And, in that situation, your first thought is, wow, I just feel so violated, and I can't believe this happened to me, and we're looking to move to this town, and look at what's happening our first time here. We get robbed. And I looked at my husband at the time and I said, you know what? This is all going to be okay. And there's a purpose for this. And anything that's this much trouble must really be worth it. And I say, let's go out tomorrow and let's find a house. And that's that hindsight moment. That's kind of what I'm talking about there. And to be able to step into those situations and realize, yeah, this might be something awful, or it may be the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But in looking at it and say, okay, now what do I do? And how do I move through this? And how do I walk through this? And there are so many tools there to help you with that. And I appreciate all the people, who've been on. It looks like my time is about up, but I really want to put some information out there for you guys to, you can always find me on CherylPiper.com. You can find me on AlchemyHolisticLifeCoach.com. You can email me either place. I will get it. I'm always open to helping in any way I can, answering any questions you have. Put some comments in the message box here. But I'd like to send you off with a message, and that is, think about a smile. Think about a smile, that you can smile at someone that you don't know, that you don't know their situation, and you don't know what that smile could do for them. And I've had people share with me that a smile has changed their life because they were really in a bad place. And so a smile to a stranger, kindness to a stranger, and showing compassion that we are all connected and we're all one. Kindness just doesn't cost anything. It's free. And it means so much. You can change someone's life and you'll never know. I'd just like to send you off with that today. Again, I'm Cheryl Piper, and it's been fun to be live with you. I'm doing this every Monday on YouTube and every Wednesday on Facebook, and we're just going to be talking about different subjects that can really help in moving us into that space of awareness and growth. Thanks. Take care.